Okay, so Auros is about turning knowledge into a wholly different kind of tool inside of your company. That's what it's attempting to do. Okay, so here's the nuts and bolts of Auros, right? And you'll see a lot more demonstration later. They'll put this together. But why is Auros different? What does it really look like? So those of you who really want to get the overview, this is it. This is where you need to take a look. So as I said, there's really two phases to this knowledge operating system process. There's the engagement and acquisition of knowledge, not in a one-time, let's go document everything way, but in a process that's organic and adapts with the company, right? And we've absolutely proven that can be done. And then the reuse side, below the red line, is how does it actually engage the decision-making processes? Where does the engineer encounter the knowledge, right? We're totally getting away from a reference shelf, search and then apply. It's a much different paradigm.
So just a brief recap on kind of what we've talked about. Auros is an active knowledge system that captures and structures and refines and redeploys our knowledge. And the way we do that is through organizing it in communities of practice or communities like Jeff talked about earlier. Then we break the information down into knowledge packets. We collect those knowledge packets in our assessment controls, and that's where the evaluations take place of the knowledge within the company and within the workflow.
So what is a AKpack? As I said, it looks a little bit like a wiki, but it's a structured representation of know-how that has life cycle features to it, has collaboration features to it, has workflow features to it, and has executable nature to it. So we've defined these knowledge templates called AKpacks, and they can represent most of what you want to do reuse with knowledge.
So we initially set this up with the help of a consultant, and our AKpacks were very structured, with the similar fields, some of which you're familiar with, title, description, value table. But in addition to that, we had fields on originating source document. Where is this knowledge coming from? What does it apply to? An extended description, more details behind it, examples, good examples of when we followed this practice versus consequences and lessons, examples of when we haven't followed this practice, photos, images, video. We encourage people to put as much information inside of these design practices as possible. And, we have a lot of information of varying quality across the organization. So the last thing we wanted to do was spend a lot of time porting in just junk that people would then look at and say, well, this is the junk from over here, and I don't want to be working to this stuff because it's the same as what it was over there. So we encourage people to put in as much information as possible, a few mandatory fields, but initially we emphasized having pictures, CAD screenshots, section cuts and measurement, so someone can really get to this and can really see everything about what they need to do with the practice. You can argue that if you had an engineering workforce of all seasoned engineers, 15, 20 years experience, maybe you can get away with just telling them, these are the red, yellow, green zones for this attribute, go do it. But with the kind of turnover that we had in our organization, with moving from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Lisle, Illinois, had a lot of knowledge leave the organization. So what we needed to do inside of these AKpacks was to have very much the specifics on not only what this is, but how you measure it, why you do it, why it's important, what it's related to, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so methods represent a great way to capture process-oriented knowledge, and they allow users to convey a wide variety of data, including, but not limited to, decision models, flowcharts, interactive illustrations, technical processes, and work instructions, which are all very common in many companies' daily workflows.
So complexity of knowledge. For this example, we're going to characterize that as the result of multiple pieces of information interacting in numerous different ways. So when we have all these different pieces of information, maybe Jeff has some information that he wants to share with Jeff at Navistar, and then they both have pieces of information that they need to share with Steve, that needs to be shared with Ina. All these relationships can create some complexity. However, when they're structured and organized, it gives us the ability to understand that knowledge, to apply the knowledge, and in this example, or in this case, transfer that knowledge from one source to another. However, when the structure and the organization, when we lose that information or we lose that structure and organization, it can make it very difficult to understand the information or to apply it or to transfer it from one source to another when we just have a lot of information that we really don't know what to do with it.
One of the main reasons, or let me, I guess, cover the high-level objectives here. We wanted to actively integrate knowledge into our design process. And one of the things that we liked about Auros were these assessments that help take this and put them in front of your engineers so that they have to interact with your knowledge.
So the cool thing about Auros is that we take the knowledge that we have in our application and we can bond it to all different kinds of other digital applications, different kind of web applications, quality analysis tools we do at some of our other customers, several different CAD systems, PLM systems, and this one here is for the bill of materials, CAE systems and KBE systems. Digital mock-up, we have a connector with Teamcenter TC Viz. That's a very popular one. Our bill of process and virtual simulation tools. So the cool thing about that is we can bake in all that good stuff you're going to put in those Word documents and whatever your best practices, requirements, and we can put them in front of the engineers where they do their work.
First of all, the cost prohibitiveness became really obvious to me in 2013 and certainly this year in 2014, the cost of doing nothing. What we're paying in quality expense, what we're paying with our limited bandwidth of engineers who also have to develop a high number of new products. These are the same engineers that are getting pulled into quality issues, launch issues. That has to stop. We need to have much better first pass success, and I need tools in our company that can enable us to do that more effectively. So the cost of doing nothing, to me, is a bigger deal right now than the cost of doing Auros.
And we needed a teachable method for applying best practices. We don't have the staff, and I doubt anybody else does, that can go to 8 or 10 new sites around the world and teach everybody all the knowledge. If you put it in here and they get an error, you can put a descriptor in there of why it failed. It helps teach. So it won't be the whole book, but for that AKpack and for that particular dimension or application, you can explain a little bit about why we don't do it that way, when we need it better.
We come back to that key question. Is this application going to support our process, or is it going to drive the process? So one of our core objectives is, let's see if we can have this help drive our process into the organization. So knowledge retention. This, for us, is clearly the core of what Auros does. But for us, it's a big element as we deploy this new process that now we need to capture this and make sure it doesn't just get deployed by engineer or by a team, but instead now it's deployed across company.
I'm very happy with the responsiveness of the Auros team, by the way. Every time we give them a suggestion, they jump on it. That gives me confidence to really move forward with the tool. So, for me, these benefits are really no longer a vision, but really a tangible target that I see us capturing more and more in 2015 and into 2016. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be on board with the tool. Our pilot is wrapping up in a couple of months. Another nod to Auros and the Emergent team. They've given us a pretty long leash through this pilot phase, working with a smaller company.
An knowledge operating system, to me, encompasses these two ideas, that you're going to not only capture knowledge, but also provide the mechanism and framework to redistribute knowledge, right? And I think there is no other system out there that can make that claim.